doctor. But we used to really amp each other up back in the Rutgers days by just simply saying, you either want it or you don't want it. Which one is it?
See, and that's that sports mentality. See, that's why it's so important, and I'm always, like, sports has taught me so many things. Like, it prepares you for any situation that we're going to go through in life, and it simplifies exactly what you just said. Either you want it or you don't. Don't blame anybody else. Take that accountability and responsibility. It's a very simple decision, but it's one that we all have to make for ourselves, because we determine the outcome, whatever destiny, whatever manifests in our life. That's something that we created, in my opinion. This is just how I see stuff.
Exactly.
So this is amazing. So want to get into, you know, what you're doing now. You know, you gave us so many inspirational things.
Let me start with a quick story. So when I started my medical school journey, right, I went to Harvard Medical School, and I was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and optimistic and hopeful about the future. And then in my third year of medical school, third year is where you become, for the first time, you leave the library, as they say, and you go into the hospital. You actually, like, round with other doctors, and you take care of patients. You sit at the bedside and you see what suffering looks like for the first time, you know, often. I had never shadowed doctors leading up to that experience. I didn't have, you know, doctors in my family or doctors in my community that I could sort of sit with. So David, I was working off of this concept, this story of what it meant to be a doctor. Right? I was working off the story of the experience that I had with my mom. What I found when I started seeing patients as a third-year medical student was just how broken, and I'm being mindful of my words because I know, you know, this is a PG show, but just let's say the word broken, like how broken the healthcare system is, and how broken it is specifically for poor people, and also how broken it is for Black people. And so it was my first time, I guess, acknowledging the reality of the situation, that this thing is like really screwed up. And so I had a decision to make, like, do I complain about this for the rest of my life, or do I try to, you know, get on the field and make a play? Maybe I don't actually know exactly what to do, but it's better than doing nothing, and it's better than complaining. So I decided to leave medical school for 2 years. I went to a place called the Harvard Kennedy School, which is a different school where you learn government, you learn politics, you learn how do you go upstream and try and address the political system. And I wish I could say I came away with all the answers. I didn't, but I came away with the ability to ask the right questions, you know. And so from that, I swerved into working in politics for a little bit. Worked up in Vermont for a year. Just wrapped up a stint working for the vice president for a year down in D.C. And all of this really amounts to building on my understanding of, yes, I can help take care of the patient that's right in front of me, but I also have to keep an eye on how do I go upstream and try and address the problem that led to this patient being here in the first place. And that's what we're doing at A Healthier Democracy, right? The work is to simultaneously acknowledge the problem that exists on the micro level while finding its correlate at the macro scale, okay? And hitting both at the same time, right? So what do our programs do? So one of our programs is called Vote ER. It's a very cheesy name, David, but you get the drift. Vote ER is we help people who are in the ER register to vote because they're sitting there. So why not? And it turns out that we have 60 million people in this country who are not registered to vote, right? That's the whole entire population of Spain that's not voting. And many of those folks...
60 million?
That's right. And many of those folks are right in our waiting room in the ER, right? Or in a community health center. So we help them register to vote, and we've helped about 80,000 people so far register to vote all across the country. Another program, for example, is called Link Health, where we connect patients to money that they can use to pay their phone bill or pay their internet bill for their computer at home. That's through a program called the Affordable Connectivity Program. It's $30 a month that you can use today to pay your phone bill. Today, okay? 145 million Americans qualify for it. and only like 30% of folks who qualify have actually signed up. So we use healthcare settings to sign people up for that program, put money in their pocket, and then get them discharged. So that's a couple of the different examples of the work we do at A Healthier Democracy.
It's amazing because, you know, even on a much smaller level, so I work with the NFL alumni, help a lot of the former players, and before I came on board to actually have a position, it was important for me, you know, when I was talking to guys, I'm like, listen, if I do something, it has to be something that I'm already doing, like in the industry that I'm in healthcare, because other than that, it's just not going to work for me. Like, I'm committed to this particular industry, so therefore, you know, it would have to be in that area. What you're doing is maximizing the community that you're already in, not only from a standpoint of healing people, but also giving them the power to heal themselves. You know, that's what you're really doing. You're giving them the power. Okay, boom, we need to get you registered to vote. You need to have a voice in this. You need to have a power in this, a power play in this, and that's a vote. So it's very commendable what you're doing, and I think it's also relatable to a lot of people, and it gives us too many of us think that, oh, well, I'm not really into politics, I can't worry about that. Well, when it's doing it as a part of the community that you're already in, then that's something that everybody can do. You're all going to be at work. You know, when you explore some of the biggest problems that, you know, particular communities have, it can be something as simple, but obviously hugely problematic as 60 million people not being registered. But it could be as simple as saying, like, hey, this group right here, we're going to make sure we're all registered to vote, and we're going to tell everybody that walks in that door, we're going to help them register to vote. Everybody's super busy, and a lot of times it's probably the people who are the busiest, who think they're the busiest, those are the ones that probably need to be voting the most, yes, but they're not. Right. So it's, yeah, that's a tremendous program. It's a tremendous program.
Yeah, thank you very, very much, man. I think that the thing that I have learned working in politics for the last, let's say, 5 to 7 years is, in this country, unfortunately, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Okay?